Okay, so there's these things that are meant to live in the Shetlands. They're called trowies. They live in crags or in hills, caves or by rivers. They're kind of like the trolls that go trip trap trapping over my bridge. So here's one story I heard about the trowies. Basically there was this bloke who'd played a fiddle, and he'd go out and play in this meadow by a river, and one day he kissed his wife goodbye and went and played there. And when he finished playing he heard clapping, and he looked up and there was this little man standing there, and the little man said to the bloke, "That was right. Tell you what, there's a wedding today, you've got to come and play for us." And the bloke said, "Alright, I'm up for that." And the bloke followed this little guy, and they walked over dales and hills, and he suddenly found himself in a big room, and it was full of these little dudes, and sure enough it was a wedding. And the little guy said, "Folks, we got a fiddler, he's going to play for us." And everyone cheered, and he started playing, and the little people went mental. They started dancing like crazy, and they were drinking, and he started drinking, and people were knocking over tables and jigging, and all kinds of mayhem. And then later on, when most people had said goodbye, the little guy said, "Got to crash here, too late to go home." And the fiddling bloke said, "Fair dues, it was too late to go home." And so he slept there. The next day, the bloke woke up, and he was next to the river, and he dusted himself down and headed back home. And he got home, and he knocked on his door, and his wife answered it and said, "Where have you been?" And he said, "I'm sorry, I know, I should have come back home last night, but there was this wedding, and I had to stay, but it was just a night, I'm sorry." And she said, "What are you talking about, you nutter? You've been gone for 3 months. And he said, "Nah." And she said, "Yeah." And he said, "Blimey." And he said, "What happened?" And basically what happened, or so I'm told, is the little dude who started clapping by the river was a trowie, and the wedding he played at was a trowie wedding. And when trowies get their stride on, time gets crooked and goes slower or faster than ours. So his evening became 3 months. And a natural reaction is to think, yeah, whatever, there's no trowies, he's just some waster musician gone on the lash for 3 months and made up something about goblins, which is probably true. But I like to think that what we've got here is a forerunner of Einstein's theory of relativity, in which the passage of time is all relative, depending on a coordinate of different factors. It isn't though, it's about trolls. I just thought it would be nice to think about Einstein, even though it isn't about him.